Hello everyone. Today I have joined in today here to share with you guys my recent trip which I had to Japan. So it was a 10 days trip that we had planned from 14th of December. That is when we started our travel date and we returned back on 25th. So I'll just tell you more details about how did we plan about the entire trip. What are some of the do's and don'ts about being in Japan, and some of the cultural differences that we noticed in the country, and also a little bit more in terms of how you can plan your trip overall, right? So to begin with, I think just some of the key things, right? So पहला एक तो जब आप ट्रिप अपना प्लान कर रहे हो, सबसे पहली चीज़ जो आपको करनी चाहिए, आई थिंक यू शुड डिसाइड दैट विच इज़ द लोकेशन जहाँ पर आप लैंड करोगे इन जापान, एंड विच इज़ द लोकेशन फ्रॉम वेयर यू विल रिटर्न बैक. सो आपको डिसाइड करना है स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट एंड आपका एंड पॉइंट. सो मैं अपना बताता हूँ आपको प्लान. आप फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जस्ट टू गिव यू अ ब्रीफ, सो हमने स्टार्ट किया था मुंबई से एंड वी रीच्ड देयर इन टोक्यो. नरिता एयरपोर्ट का हमने फ्लाइट ली थी एंड वी गॉट इट बुक्ड थ्रू ANA, which is all Nippon Airlines of Japan. So it costed us around some 1,40,000 for a return trip for 2 people. And हमने return trip लिया था from the same location, right? So Tokyo से हमारा return था from Narita and we landed also there. So and the reason we did that was because we thought, one, that was cost efficient. It was a little better in terms of returning back from the same location, and एक साथ book कराने से थोड़ा cost का benefit मिल गया. So that's why I booked it for same location. And yeah, so I think that's important. So which all cities you want to cover and how well that is connected back to Narita or Haneda airport, you can accordingly plan return from the same location, right? So हमारे travel plan में included था locations. We started our trip from Osaka. So that was the first location we started from. Osaka में we spent almost like 5 days, right, in Osaka. And the reason being that we wanted to explore Osaka 3 days. We directly wanted to give it there. एक दिन तो local, we wanted to do the sightseeing in Osaka, plus 1 day we wanted to spend fully in the Universal Studio, and 1 day was more dedicated for the initial settling in, right? So और वहाँ से हमने फिर हिरोशिमा भी travel किया था. So that's why 1 day was very specifically for Hiroshima. And then also 1 day we had kept for Kyoto, right? So because Kyoto travel करना Osaka से is easy, so we didn't want to change our bases too much. So हमने एक base अपना Osaka में रखा, from where we traveled all the nearby places, and then the remaining part of the 1 day was in Hakone, because Hakone is little far from Osaka and very close to Tokyo, so we wanted to stay 1 night there. So एक दिन हमने वहाँ रखा था, and then remaining 4 days we have parked for Tokyo. So that's how we had done it, right? So 5 nights in Hakone, Osaka, 1 night in Kyoto, and then remaining in Tokyo, right? So that's how we had planned. So overall 10 days, 10 nights. Now in terms of so that was more in terms of the location planning, right? So then another important thing that comes is कि आप locally travel कैसे करने वाले हैं वहाँ पर, because Japan में travel करना थोड़ा expensive है and you can't take cabs are very expensive. So it's better to go with pre-booking your JR pass, which is the Japan Rail Pass. So हमने वही book कर लिया था, because अगर आप बहुत सारी location travel कर रहे हो and you want to cover quite a few locations, so doing it through individual bookings can be expensive. So it's better that आप JR pass ले लो, और हमने वही लिया. It costed us around 58,000 Indian rupees, because 1 lakh in Japanese yen is what it costs for 2 people. So around 58,000 is what we had spent for that, and it was very good because one is it covered all bullet train travel from Tokyo to Osaka, from Osaka to Hakone, and then from Hakone to back to Tokyo. And 1 day we also did a travel to Hiroshima, so that was also covered in that. So that was about the bullet trains. But उसके अलावा भी अगर आप local travel करते हैं तो there are a lot of trains which are covered under JR, which is Japan Rail. So वहाँ पर भी हमें benefit मिलता है. So वो cost काफ़ी convenient था हमारे लिए. अगर हम individually वही चीज़ एक एक करके बुक करते तो शायद I'm sure हमने अभी 58,000 पे किया, तो we would have paid somewhere close to 75-80,000, because we had to take maybe separate passes for the local travel also beyond the bullet train. So JR passes is good if you are going to travel quite significantly within different cities in Japan. So that's about local travel. The next part is about the stay piece, right? So कहाँ रहना चाहिए, there are a lot of options in Japan in terms of hotels also which are there. Um, if you want to stay in hotel, then and like an economical hotel, then APA is one hotel, APA hotel, which is quite common, and we could see it in every place, right? Any city we stayed. So Osaka में भी हमें दिखा था वो, Osaka में भी काफ़ी जगह पे था, Hiroshima में भी दिखा इनफैक्ट हमें, plus Japan में तो था ही काफ़ी जगह पे, right? So that is one common chain which is economical in terms of cost, so you can go for that. But from our side of it, we didn't do hotels much, right? Because we wanted to save little cost on the hotel side, so we did book Airbnb. So we started with Osaka. So Osaka में हमारे all 5 nights were booked in a Airbnb, and which was pretty good, right? We had flexibility to cook at our own because we don't eat non-veg food, right? So and from food point of view it can be a little challenging. Indians के लिए वहाँ पर वेज खाना मिलना मुश्किल है, तो हम लोग groceries से सामान लेके आते थे and we used to cook it, right? So that way Airbnb was a good option, right? And if you are looking for a cost economical option, then Airbnb is very good, right? So let it be any location, right? So you can find it very easily, and very good Airbnbs, right? So pretty safe in terms of the localities, and in terms of the checking in process is also very easy. Usually it's contactless. You don't really have to speak to your landlord or host. You can literally check in through the security codes and all that. So वो काफ़ी कन्वीनियंटली हो गया था, and I think cost wise also it costed us half of what I would say a hotel would have costed us. So we did not spend more than 5 to 6K Indian rupees per night if you have to talk about all 10 days. इसमें एक दिन हमारा होटल का भी था जो हमने स्पेंड किया था वहाँ पर टोक्यो में, but apart from that it was all Airbnb. So I would recommend that for Osaka. Look, if you're going to stay there, look for Airbnb. Hakone, because Hakone is little something that people go for. वहाँ पर hot water spring onsens हैं, which is onsen is what they call it in Japanese, and that is nothing but your hot water springs जहाँ पर people go and take they bath there, right? So there are public and private onsens available. So for that experience, people go and stay there. So we also did that one. That also was Airbnb, but it was a little expensive compared to that of Osaka. तो आप थोड़ा एडवांस में बुक करेंगे तो आई थिंक वो भी इजीली आपको मिल सकता है. So that's on the stay side of it. I think Tokyo में तो quite a few options are there, right? So Tokyo में, as you know, Shibuya and Shinjuku are like two locations which are very commonly known locations, and uski life is amazing, right? So these are two places within Tokyo which are like open throughout the night. You will see a lot of buzz around the city and people hanging out. But if you're somebody who wants to stay within that area, you can still do Airbnb because there are a lot of Airbnb available there also, and you can enjoy that night vibe. But if you're somebody who wants to be have fun during the day in some of these areas, but during the daytime, during the night time, you want to stay in some calm places, then you may also look at some of the adjoining places, right? So वहाँ पर I think there are quite a few places, right? So Asakusa is one place where we stayed, right? So Asakusa is not very far from the main Shinjuku and Shibuya area. वो भी hardly 2 to 3 stations दूर है, and moreover Tokyo में there is metro which is pretty convenient. तो आप there are multiple lines which runs within the Tokyo. So आप Shibuya Shinjuku से you can very easily reach to your adjoining areas also within half an hour में, तो वो भी बहुत easily हो जाता है, right? Japan में travel करना is not difficult, right? So it's very convenient till the time you are able to find out the exit gates and stations and all of that. I'll also tell you how to really navigate through all those channels and how to find out the right station, how to do about it, because we use a lot of AI for that, right? So so that's about the stay piece. You can decide depending on your budget and depending on your comfort if you want to stay in a hotel or if you want to stay in an Airbnb. But Airbnb is nowhere lesser than a hotel in terms of comfort and in terms of the safety and in terms of the cost also. It's going to be pretty better option. Then comes about the attractions, right? So attraction places where you should visit. So if you are doing a DIY, you're not going through a travel agent, so I think it's good to have some of these things pre-planned. For example, ओसाका में हमने यूनिवर्सल स्टूडियो बुक किया हुआ था, तो भी हमने पहले से ही बुक करा के रखा था 15 days in advance, because sometimes it's difficult to get the passes. Universal Studios में there's one catch which is there. So there are two kind of passes for Universal Studio. One is the studio pass, which just lets you enter the premises of Universal Studio, and but there are times जब वहाँ पर बहुत ज़्यादा भीड़ होती है, तो your studio pass may not let you cross those big क्यूज दैट आर देयर, तो अगर आपको वो थोड़ा अपना टाइम सेव करना, बिकॉज वो बहुत बड़ी जगह है वहाँ पर, you can like one day is also not enough, right? So if you want to explore the entire thing and you want to do all the activities there are a lot of good rides there. So rides के लिए बहुत लंबी लाइन लगती है, अगर आप लाइन अवॉइड करना चाहते हो तो then you can maybe take that additional pass which helps you which actually helps you cover some of those things also, and quickly you can do that, right? So उसका एक्स्ट्रा वी हैड टू पे, बट इट्स अ गुड थिंग, राइट? वाइल जब हम लोग गए थे तो हमारे टाइम पे इट वॉज नॉट मच क्राउडेड, बट मे बी if you go and if you have planned to go at that point it can be little busy, so you may not be able to do it the entire thing. So आप पहले से इसको प्री बुक करके प्लस विद द एक्सप्रेस पास लेके जा सकते हो. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट क्लूक में बहुत सारी, क्लूक इज़ वन ऑफ द वेबसाइट्स जहाँ पर आपको सारे पासेस मिल जाएंगे. यू डोंट रियली हैव टू लुक फॉर मल्टीपल वेबसाइट्स टू बुक ऑल दीज एक्सट्रैक्शंस. सो क्लूक ऑफर्स मल्टीपल ऑप्शंस, सो यू कैन डाउनलोड क्लूक एज क्लूक ऐप एंड उस पर एक्सप्लोर कर सकते हो. ओसाका में हमने ओसाका पास भी लिया था. ओसाका पास ऑल्सो लेट्स यू कवर मल्टीपल अट्रैक्शंस विद इन that one pass that you take, right? So uski cost bhi is not very expensive, while Universal Studio can be little expensive, but Osaka pass is I think economical. It's not very expensive, between 4 to 5,000 rupees for 2 people. We had booked it and it covered awesome 50 plus attractions. Or yeah, so that was about the attractions in Osaka. Hiroshima mein, because we had gone to the Miyajima, there's a ferry that goes, and then we had also gone to the specifically to the museum which covers the entire incident of atomic bombing that happened in Hiroshima. So उसमें काफ़ी उन्होंने अच्छे से पोर्ट्रे किया हुआ है. तो for that the pass, you really need not to buy a pass for Hiroshima, I would say. आप वहाँ जाके भी म्यूजियम के passes ले सकते हो, जो भी attractions है वहाँ पर. So it's not very expensive. So maybe Hiroshima you can skip buying any specific pass. But if you have a JR pass, you can very well take that ferry, which I said it's covered under the JR pass. You can within the same cost travel to Miyajima, और वहाँ से वापस भी आप same day cover कर सकते हो, right? So attractions, I think, if you and likewise if you want to do in Tokyo, so Tokyo may also there are quite a few, right? So we have Shibuya, the Sky, and then we have Tokyo Tower, and then we have Disney World, right? So there are multiple other attractions in Tokyo also, so that also you can pre-book through Klook, and pre-booking is always good because then you can probably get away from the hassle of maybe not getting tickets at the very last minute. So आप book करके जाओगे तो ठीक रहेगा. हमने for example वहाँ पर we have on one of the days we are also gone to Team Labs Planet, right? So that is very good place I think, and must recommended one for anyone to visit. So हमने एक दिन पहले बुक कर लिया था, बिकॉज अगर वो नहीं करोगे आप तो आपको शायद वो स्लॉट नहीं मिलेगा टाइमिंग के लिए, जो टाइमिंग आप देखना चाह रहे हो. सो आई थिंक वो एक दिन पहले बुक कराया था हमने, तो अच्छे से मिल गया था, एंड वी वर एबल टू कवर दैट. सो वी रीच देयर अराउंड 2 o'clock, एंड आई थिंक 2.5-3 hours is more than enough for that place, but having it pre-booked is always good. And one important thing that you should do in Tokyo is just to look at some of the very good there are a lot of observation decks in Tokyo, right? So ऑब्जर्वेशन डेक्स पे आप पूरा सिटी व्यू देख सकते हो, राइट? द पैनोरामिक व्यू ऑफ द इंटायर टोक्यो यू कैन गेट फ्रॉम दोज स्पेसिफिक ऑब्जर्वेशन डेक्स. मल्टीपल ऑब्जर्वेशन डेक्स हैं, जैसे शिबुया स्काई इज वन, बट इट इज a little expensive, but there are other alternative options also. So we did for example Roppongi Hills में there's an observation deck which we did, and I think it's not very costly also. So we were able to get some good city view from that place. But I think obviously Shibuya Sky is always better because it gives you that open view, whereas Roppongi Hills में जो observation deck है वो थोड़ा closed है, and glasses का reflection आ रहा था lights का, तो it was not very well, we are not able to capture it very well on the mobile phones during the night time. But actually if you're going during the daytime, I think that's also a good place. But I think observation decks में once you should always go in the night time also, because night का the visibility, the lighting and all that is very different. So yeah, so you should also go for maybe some of these observation decks. I think lastly, if you talk about the shopping, right? So I think there are a lot of places to shop in Japan, and you can Google it and search for it. But I think from our point of view, we found it Uniqlo, which is also one of the good brands if you consider from India's point of view. GU वहाँ का एक local brand है, Uniqlo and GU. If you want to do some economical shopping, you should actually go and explore those places. We did it from H&M also there. H&M was also good in terms of pricing. You can get some good deals. Yeah, so I think shopping options you should explore depending on which city you are in. And definitely you can get some good options for clothing if you're gonna buy some clothes there. And I think there are a lot of places in Tokyo for electronics also. So we have Akibara market, which is a huge market for electronics. If you're vending very specific to, for example, cameras, or if you are looking for laptops, mobile phones. So I think there's a very huge market there. So yeah, and if you want to do very premium brand shopping, so there's a market in Ginza, right? So that's very specifically designed, and you will see all premium luxury brands there. So वो सब आपको shopping के लिए अच्छा place है Ginza, right? Is the place. Yeah, so I think broadly, I think these are some of the things. Some of the tips that I think are important or to be prepared before you go is that don't overpack your stuff. I think India से आप जितना minimum लेके जा सकते हो उतना लेके जाओ, because when you return back you will be like having a lot of stuff to come back with. So not advisable to carry much stuff from India. So I think bare minimum लेके जाना चाहिए, and you will end up buying trolley bags there, because that's also one of the good things that you find in Japan. Good trolley bags, big size trolley bags, and I think you can just fit in all your stuff that you buy there. So try not to overpack. In terms of I think the one of the important things also I think is to be prepared in terms of how you want to spend or make your expenses. So having a currency, maybe some currency, cash is important, right? So you need to have cash in hand. So maybe do some conversions through some of these companies. I did it through Thomas Stock. There are other companies also, Book My Forex for example. So you can take it from them. Take some. For 10 days I took some 80,000 Japanese yen, because that was largely intended for any local travel maybe, or also buying food, groceries. On top of it, you should also have a Forex card, right, which is to do shopping in certain stores. Forex card usually works, but also have a credit card, which is maybe international credit card, maybe Indian credit card अगर आप use करेंगे वहाँ पर तो उस पर आपको markup charges लगने वाले हैं. So see if you get a card which can avoid this additional cost for you, markup cost. So मेरे पास कैपिया का card था, so I use that, and that doesn't have any markup cost. So I think sorting out what card you want to use is important. So have a check on that. And I think in terms of the cost of living, I would say it's a little higher compared to that of here in India. Clothing and all is I think cheap, right? You can find very good clothes and very good shoes, right? I'm pretty sure that kind of shoes that you can find, branded shoes, you will not find it here in India, right? So that is very good in terms of options to buy. But otherwise, if you look at groceries and other food and other stuff, it's a little higher in terms of cost of living, right? So थोड़ा बहुत expensive लगेगा आपको compared to that of India for the same things. We found it for groceries, and groceries were a little expensive. Also, when you're in Japan, I think you should be very well prepared to walk a lot, because वहाँ पर you end up walking too much, right? Every day we were just walking almost 20,000 steps, because there are so many things to cover, and you start early in the day till day end you're just walking, right? So be prepared, have some lightweight shoes which can help you walk better, right? So I think that's one more important thing. I think quality of living point of view, so you will definitely love it, because I think overall the natural environment is pretty good, right? The cleanliness is very good. So safety point of view, I think Japan is very safe country. You can just keep walking throughout the night, go to any place you want, right? Think you will never find yourself in any trouble. We were just one night was awake whole night, and we were just walking around. So I think वैसे कभी feel नहीं हुआ हमें कि there's a problem there. So I think one important thing is for people who are non-vegetarians, for them it's okay, right? But people who don't eat non-veg, because in Japan you will largely find non-veg food in the restaurants or in any of the grocery stores also that you go. वहाँ पे mostly non-veg ही होता है. तो वेज के लिए you should get little prepared. यहाँ से इंडिया से भी आप कुछ पैक करके ले जा सकते हो सामान, which is like ready to eat food, right? Or maybe just pack some Maggies and all that, right? So quick bites that you should have handy, because initially you may not, even if you go to grocery stores, most of the times उनके language which is printed on the food items is in Japanese, while you can use Google Translate, and also that's one of the important things you should have on your phones, because Google Translate will help you understand what people are talking. You can use or even communicate yourself to people who only understand Japanese. So Google Translate is important, but also it helps to maybe when you go to grocery store, read through the ingredients of the things that you're going to buy, right? So from that point of view also, you should be well prepared, right? At least you should have something that you take from here in India before you settle down there and you know places from where you should buy your groceries. While there are a lot of grocery stores, places like 9-11, 7-Eleven, right, which is always open 24/7, and then we had a Family Mart, right. Daiso is always yeah, that's another one, but that's not open 24/7, but yeah, it's a good one which have a lot of options to buy groceries and other food stuff. In terms of connectivity, right? So I think what you should also be prepared in terms of how will you keep yourself connected to people back here in India, or have your phones working, because when you do transactions, sometimes you might also need OTPs on your phone, right? So आप या तो आप वहाँ पर लोकली भी सिम ले सकते हो जाके वहाँ पर, but those sims will only help you to be connected with people, right? But if you want to keep your phone active, I think you can just take an international roaming pack, and I think that should be good enough. And that offers good amount of data and phone coverage also, right? So but apart from that, अगर आपको लग रहा है कि आपके फ़ोन में डेटा ज़्यादा नहीं है and you don't want to use Wi-Fi on your phone mobile network data, so you will always find a lot of places where Wi-Fi is available, right? So we traveled in bullet trains, there also Wi-Fi was there. Wherever we were going for some of these attractions, there also Wi-Fi was available. So I think in some of these developed nations, that connectivity is not a challenge, right? So any place you go, you will find free Wi-Fi's. On roadside also there are certain phone booths जहाँ पर भी फ्री वाईफाई अवेलेबल होता है, तो वो चैलेंज नहीं है. सो कनेक्टिविटी विल बी नेवर बी अ प्रॉब्लम, बट स्टिल इफ यू वांट टू बी little safe in terms of having your phone always active, the Indian numbers, and also have it ready for any online transactions, OTPs, so you should just maybe take an international pack. So I think that's about it, right? Also maybe be little cognizant about the cultural differences that you might face, and what are some of the things that people in Japan I observed, right? Culturally they are different from that of India, right? So you should also be aware. So people don't talk too much there, right? So I think in metros I have noticed that everyone was very quiet, right? Even on the metro stations also you will find a lot of people running around, but they don't talk, right? And even if they talk, they don't talk very softly. You will not see people talking too much, right? So I think that's one difference probably that I noticed. So I think those are very soft people, very helpful in nature also, Japanese people. One night actually my phone had my battery had drained off, and my wife's phone, that was also not working, so we just tried to find out our lane where we were staying, so we were not able to figure that out. So he asked somebody, right, to help, and that person so generously he was so humble, he just helped us find out that lane, and then he helped us drop to the place where we were living, right? So people are very helpful, they're very much in support of if some tourist is there, they would like to help you. Also at stores also we saw that people are very the staff is very much professional in terms of supporting helping customers find whatever they're looking for. They always talk to you very gently, very nicely. So I think that is something that I really liked about Japanese people. So I think their respect for their customers, and even for people who are travelers, they will always be welcoming for you, always willing to help you. So I think these are some of the things. Language barrier, you might find it in certain places, right? Most of the places where metro stations and I think some of the common attraction areas, big places, right, where a lot of tourists usually travel, वहाँ पर तो इतना problem नहीं है. I think people will still be able to communicate with you. आप इंग्लिश में बात करोगे वो समझ जाएंगे, वो आपको communicate भी कर देंगे. But maybe in certain stores वहाँ पर शायद लोगों को नहीं समझ आता, right? When you try to do the billing or try to get something and you want to understand what that product is, so वहाँ पर आपको Google Translate use करना पड़ेगा. So you can just type in and then maybe show them, so that at least they can help you find out whatever you're looking for. So apart from that, I think language is not a very significant barrier with Google Translate being with you. One final thing that I want to close with now is that when you really plan your trip, right? So I think AI really helped us, and we didn't really reach out to anyone for this entire trip planning. we did it all through chat gpt perplexity, right? So we were while one of the things that we did was to find out what are the things that we should do in terms of attractions and all that. So AI did help us with that also, to plan the key attractions, to find out key attractions. But also one important thing that we also always were doing was that जहाँ पर हमने plan नहीं किया था for a particular day, so we used to ask AI a day before, and then that it would tell that what are some of the key things that we should do in a particular day. So and also plan it very in a very specific manner, that इस घंटे में ये करना चाहिए, it will take 2 hours or 3 hours, so you should plan your day accordingly. So it will give you starting from maybe 9 in the morning until 10 in the night, how should you plan your things. So you should I think that's a good way to use AI and find out what is that you should do to plan your day better. Because otherwise अगर आप plan नहीं करोगे तो you may end up spending a lot of time in one day, one particular space area only or attraction, and may have to probably skip some of those. So I think that way is doing it through AI was really helpful. So we used it too much, right? So even finding out which station we should take to reach a particular location, attraction area or neighborhood, we used to just tell AI that we are in a particular location right now, please tell us which train will go at what time and which exit to take. So it used to give us in detail, and trust me, like 95% of the times it was correct, right? Sometimes the exits and all that, it might a little confuse you, but I think most of the time it was accurate, right? And you may want to use that as an option to plan your days, and you to plan your station and everything. So you may, that will save you some time of not speaking to people or asking people for details. Rather, you can just follow the instructions that AI gives. So all in all, I think it's pretty easy, right, on how you can really do it and manage your entire plan. So I think it's just about doing it through DIY is more convenient. I felt we would be able to explore more things. We were controlling how we wanted to do things rather than being guided by somebody. So we really enjoyed the overall trip. I think it was really great. I think one last tip is also to say that you should maybe block one day fully for your shopping, because if you do not have any time for shopping with all the attractions, you may not find enough time to do shopping, and you don't really want to skip shopping when you are in Japan, right? So maybe have one day dedicated for shopping, and then just figure out places that you want to go, things that you want to buy. There are a lot of places in Tokyo. I would recommend if you want to buy souvenirs and if you want to buy gifts for your people back home here in India. So I think Tokyo is the place to do that. So I would not recommend it to do a lot of shopping in some of the other smaller towns, but I think majorly in Tokyo you'll find everything. So I think that's about it. That's what I wanted to share. But yeah, I'll be happy to take up any suggestions if anyone wants to have any questions that you might have, or if you're planning to go to Japan and you want to take any advice in the capacity that I can share, I'll definitely will love to do that for you. Yeah, with that I'll just close the video now, but please do reach out if you need any more information. Thank you.